here, I'll show you profitable for a while, but if some person defaults, you see how we kind of form a group here.
Hello, everybody.
We're in the desert. It's 100.
And there's nobody here, so this means that we probably have this setting the wrong way. I'm going to have to probably do this again.
I'm down onto the road, and these two Saudis in the flag. You know, it's like two Mormons.
And the connection is choppy. This has been one of those days. I'm going to go outside. So, reconnecting. Okay, so we're just going to walk outside. I got all my brand new tech, and apparently it's not good enough. We're going to keep people walk away from the noise. As you can see at the Miami conferences, they have bling, 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 Lamborghinis, fancy cars. No value creation, though. Maybe Veritation should launch something instead of fancy cars. We'll have the amount of productive assets and capital retained. So, in a nutshell, I'm here. And I have walked around. It's been at least 3 years since I've been to one of these conferences. And I went to take basically a lay of the land, talking to various startups and established players, some big name brands, some I've never heard of, you know, they may have been big, doing informal discussions, basically seeing how amenable they would be to licensing Veritasium tech, explaining the patent, the process, what we've achieved. I'd say 11 out of 12 of the people, entities I spoke to responded defensively, aggressively, and giving, I guess, what you call the stereotypical mantra of patents are bad, everything should be open sourced, you're attacking the industry, who you're going to sue next. These are for some pretty big names, okay? Which is unfortunate because it's my belief, not trying to disrespect anybody or offend anybody, it's my belief that this shows a significant misunderstanding of how big business is done, particularly in the technology and the finance fields. Let me just give you a quick overview. Large financial entities, Wall Street banks, do have patent portfolios which they build, not as aggressively as technology companies, okay, but they do build these. They have traditionally not exercised their patents on each other, and not sued each other. Except for recently. You have Wells Fargo or USAA, which is the large insurance entity. So I think it's a mutual or a mutual insurance company. They sued Wells Fargo when Wells Fargo implemented their check depositing technology. You take a picture of a check with your cell phone camera and it's deposited nearly instantaneously. That was significant. I think that was $300 or $400 million, between $200 to $400 million in terms of the settlement. That's rare. But I can explain to you one of the reasons why the banks have not went after each other using their patent portfolios, which they spend time and money to build, is because there was no reason to. Okay, banks often work with each other in terms of counterparty risk. Banks have absolutely no compunction problems whatsoever going after startups, particularly young crypto startups. You can see the regulatory bodies and how aggressive they are with these crypto startups. Okay, the banks will run roughshod through the industry. Okay, if they had access to these patents, they will use them. From the crypto entrepreneur's perspective, they will certainly abuse them. This is a guarantee. Okay, then you have the large technology companies who are actually second up in the terms of patent applications. Bank of America, JP Morgan, et al. Have filed for more crypto patents than the big technology companies, the Microsofts, the IBMs, etc. And it's amazing with IBM. Bank of America has led the charge, but most crypto patents filed by a company comes from China, with Alibaba. The most crypto patents filed by our country is China, by a large margin. So, when you have somebody who has a patent, okay, and is willing to talk to you, you know, in terms of licensing, negotiation, etc., I think that's a very, very beneficial, benevolent move. Okay, it's not as if I or Veritasium is coming across with a hammer and a slew of letters and lawyers saying you're under attack. I'm saying, now let's talk. Let's see if I can potentially improve your business model, expand your revenues, etc. This is not being very well received. I personally consider this as immaturity in the industry, because if JP Morgan, and to explain for those who don't know what we've run what I label the Aboriginal DeFi patent. But realistically, this is a patent on conditional value transfer through a blockchain using asymmetric key pair. So basically, if you have a private key and you send value across a distributed ledger, contingent upon a value or a data source or a price or anything else, very strong chances covered under the patent. This covers many blockchains, right? Significant parts of Ethereum, of Bitcoin, of Ripple's ledger and their practice, etc. I have no desire to be anything similar to a patent troll. As a matter of fact, I don't think I can be a patent troll, since I believe I wrote the first swaps on the blockchain. A patent troll is someone who doesn't actually produce, but uses a patent. I think I'm the other way around. So when I try and make deals with many of the entities, the revulsion, the anathema, I believe is anti-business-like, and I think it stems from a misunderstanding of how this works. The IP wars, the turf, the title to the land of the crypto business, which is only a business now, will not be a business in the medium future, just like there are no internet companies now. There's just companies that use the internet. There will be no crypto companies. There will just be companies that use distributed ledgers. But for right now, we call them crypto companies. The battle to have been won was fought back in 2014, 15, and 16. Okay? And the winners or the losers have already been decided. So, if JP Morgan, if Goldman Sachs, if Citibank were to have won the Aboriginal DeFi patent, there would be nobody coming to ask you for a license deal, nobody coming to discuss how can we expand your revenues or improve your business model. You'll be getting letters from lawyers shutting you down. This is a guarantee. So, the fact that this is not understood by many in the industry is disconcerting. It really is. But on the positive side, we have talked to a couple of small entities who are very anxious to license. And part and parcel of the licensure would be consulting. You know, basically you get access to my ideas, our team's ideas. To give you an example of the value of what these ideas are like, the idea of Uniswap, without the actual liquidity pool, we use something different. We came up with that in 2013, 2014. Okay, it's about 4 years ahead of everybody else. Where would your business be if you were 4 years ahead of your competition, instantaneously? And if you had the ability to have protected revenues because you have licensed IP. Now, we're going to protect certain revenue streams or certain businesses through the licensure, if you're leading. One example is XRP. Not XRP, it's Ripple. Ripple is in a significant battle, and for those who dislike Ripple, you know, more power to you. But if Ripple loses, right, that's a loss for a significant amount of the industry. Okay, if Ripple loses, they will most likely go after the individuals in Ripple for fraud. Okay, many of you don't realize that, hey, the prosecutors going after Ripple were the same prosecutors that went after Veritasium and myself, and they seem to have a modus operandi. Notice in the papers, if I'm not mistaken, that could be Cienta was mentioned. Cienta is one of the elements of fraud. That was there potentially to set up the individuals that were going after, that they're going after for fraud charges if they're able to gain jurisdiction over Ripple itself, which would mean if they're able to prove that XRP is a security. Number one. Number two, if XRP is a security, that would destroy Ripple's business model as it stands, but they can use any other token as well. And I'd be more than willing to license my on-demand liquidity technology to Ripple. Yes, and yes, Ripple does have an on-demand liquidity patent. I'm going to go through that later on today if I can, comparing our patent to Ripple's on-demand liquidity patent. So, why would I strive to keep Ripple in the game? Because competition is key. Do you want this industry to grow, to expand? Do you want to get the best possible product as a consumer? Well, then avoid monopolies. Okay, so you don't want Ethereum to take over. You don't want Polygon to take over. You want significant competition. If someone does take over, they take over due to meritorious pursuits and actually winning the game. Okay, you don't want them taking over due to legislative favor or regulatory favor. I'm not saying anybody has or is doing so, but you want actual competition. I'm willing to foster that with a little bit of resources that I have. Okay, so Ripple's a good example of how we can attempt to keep competition in the game and help everybody else. We also have the competitors to Ripple. Okay, I'm going to give everybody a license, and I'm willing to actually try my best to expand this industry. This can't be done by myself. Okay, so the cypherpunk crowd, we hear the word patent and want to pull up guns and tighten their fists. You need to look at your history. Because if JP Morgan came in here with this patent, there would be no discussion. There would be no the North American Bitcoin Conference. There'll be a JP Morgan's bonus pool party, and there'll be a shareholder meeting with boosted profits and boosted bonuses. I'm not knocking JP Morgan or any other bank, but realize Wall Street is highly aggressive, highly capable, and as the gatekeepers of capital, they're not going to run out of it. So, I plead everybody, use your head, study your history, and anybody who wants to discuss licensure, learning how patents work, learning how your business fits into our IP or vice versa, just hit me up. You can hit me on Telegram, Reggie Middleton. You can hit me on Twitter, @Reggie Middleton. And WhatsApp is Signal if you have my number, which many don't. Okay? See if I can take a few questions before I go. And I will be back live or recorded videos a couple of times throughout the day. There are a couple of things that I'd like to go over. For instance, a preview for the next live, be up before the end of the day, maybe in a couple of hours, is how important it is to actually reach out and develop your own IP or partner with those who have. I sat on this stage. I looked at most of the companies, their blockchain companies and consulting companies and investors. I'd say 9 out of 11, let's say 8 out of 10 of the companies up there were infringing on the patent in some form or fashion that I can ascertain. Okay, that's a lot. Let's have a conversation. The banking industry, with the assistance of the regulatory body that is attempting to take control over crypto, which is the SEC, will run roughshod over what you see as a crypto community now. Now, there are some entities that are preparing for that. I will call it out. Okay, how you doing? Ethereum is the primary entity and that ecosystem around Ethereum. Now, I don't mean public Ethereum. Okay, so JP Morgan's crypto efforts, their crypto arm was sold to Consensus. Consensus is the largest Ethereum developer in the world. It is founded by one of the CEOs and founded. The CEO and founder is the same, he's one of the founders of Ethereum. Very good businessman. I have nothing to Joseph Lubin seems like a cool guy as well. So it's definitely not knocking him or Ethereum. But they have a massive head start. Okay, they do more Ethereum developments than anybody except for, or probably including, the actual consulting firms such as Ernst & Young, Accenture, PwC, and Anderson. All those companies work on Ethereum offshoots and derivatives for the enterprise, including the banks. Okay, they are saying embedded with the banks would give a negative connotation, but they're in very, very tight with the enterprise and the banking situation. So if banks come in and run roughshod, where banks are lacking actual enterprise experience and resources, the consensus at our group is there to cover it. So they will actually do better as banks take over. Fighting or competing with them is Ripple in the XRP system. Ripple arguably has significantly more clients than Ethereum et al. Or those who integrate that. But Ripple ran into the FCC issue, as well as many others who compete or can be seen as competing with Ethereum. Again, that's a story to be told another day, but I don't want to make this about Ethereum itself. I want to make it about competition. So I espouse a potential strategy to help keep Ripple in the game. So decision makers at Ripple, okay, reach out to me. I think we should chat, and I think we should chat businessman to businessman, not necessarily through lawyers. Everybody else besides Ripple, besides Consensus and Onyx, which is a JP Morgan arm, and JPM Coin, all of which I feel infringe, as well as Ethereum itself, which infringes in my opinion, as well as Ripple, Ripple's ODL, which is the most profitable product, which in my opinion infringes as well. That's just about it. You have others who reach out to the industry, but they have no real traction, except for possibly Stellar. Stellar, which is very similar to Ripple, has not faced the regulatory challenges that I know of that Ripple has. It's picking up the slack. Okay, there's a good chance that if Ripple loses this battle, or if XRP is considered security, Gensler has lost too much face to allow Ethereum to just slip by, and or Stellar. Ethereum has significant connections in the regulatory quagmire, shall I say. So it's interesting to see how that plays out. Okay, but the smaller guys in this race do not need to participate in the battle of the titans, and should not. Okay, so on that note, I'm semi-rambling, lots of music, and I'm going to get back to the conference to have a couple of conversations. And I will go over, not specifically, we're not doing a claim-by-claim basis, but I will show you how significant the IP is relative to all the names we just shown. Think about Ethereum infringing on the protocol level. What would that mean? That would mean anybody who uses Ethereum for profit on a commercial basis infringes as well as many of those entities who use it, Ethereum on a commercial basis, particularly at application level. Many of those applications also infringe. The Lightning Network, those who use the Lightning Network on a commercial basis infringe. Okay, and we went through Ripple and ODL and others. So I'm trying my best to reach out and have discussions to make mutually beneficial, value-creating relationships. But I need for the cypherpunk types, the hardcore development types, everything should be open source. I need for you to study your economic history, your business history, and understand how patents work. This is not a if patents will come. This is not if it will come. It has come, and it's a matter of if you will get on board and create the proper business deals. Okay, you work with Amazon, you pay your AWS server fees to Amazon. It doesn't put you out of business. You don't say Amazon's trying to take over. You have an expense, you pay it. It's just that simple. And in exchange for that, you have significant value from having 24-hour hosted services. This is no different, okay? And I think it's bad business to think of patent to the protected IP as the devil. Okay, now if you have an adversarial party, that's one thing. And I explained who likely will be the adversarial party if they come in. Okay, it's not like they're going to go and destroy all startups. If you have significant value, they will attempt to buy you, okay, or partner with you on favorable terms to them. And if you're infringing the IP, then you will probably have no choice. They can exclude you from the market. Think about that. Okay, everybody hit like and hit share on this video. It's at 20 minutes. I'm going to go, and I'll be back. And next time I'll be back, I'll pull up my little folding phone, and we'll go over in more detail how all these other platforms may infringe. Remember, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not giving legal advice. Only my opinion as a dad I am not a technologist, and I'm not a developer or engineer either. Okay? So thank you for showing up, everybody. I apologize for all of the technical difficulties. I bought all this fancy equipment. It's still not working, probably because I don't follow directions. Okay, I'll see you all in a couple hours.